All right, in the world of politics today, there's a lot going on, which makes it perfect time to have Caroline Heldman, professor of critical theory and social justice at Occidental College, who is here to break it all down. Good morning, Caroline. Normally a little different, right? It's the afternoons, but it's mornings today.
It is early. Good morning, Kelvin.
Good morning to you. All right, let's get to it. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. The January 6th hearing was, of course, rescheduled because of Hurricane Ian. They reportedly have come into possession of some text messages from former White House Chief Mark Meadows regarding ways to overturn the 2020 election results. Is this that smoking gun, that proof that they needed, or is there anything left for this committee to prove?
Well, we'll definitely see the text messages, or at least a hint at the content between Jenny Thomas, who is, of course, the spouse of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, and Mark Meadows. 21 messages, as you know, talking about overthrowing the election. It's hard to say whether or not this will have an effect because these hearings, the previous 8 hearings, have been full of, I would argue, explosive revelations. And yet the percentage of Americans who want to hold Donald Trump accountable for January 6th and the violent insurrection has remained right around 52%. So it's almost as though, it's certainly educating folks who already wanted to hold him accountable, but a lot of folks are simply not tuning in.
Yeah, sometimes you can feel like that. The folks are just like, hey, they got too much going on maybe in their own personal lives or whatever it may be. All right, we'll go here now. Mitch McConnell announcing that he will support the bipartisan legislation to protect our future elections, going against former President Trump, who urged his supporters to vote against it. What's the significance of this? Are we starting to see many Republicans start to really protect their own selves, or every man for themselves, if you will?
Well, certainly in the Senate. I mean, if you live through the violent insurrection of January 6th, you want to pass this bill. It does two things, primary things. One is confirming that the vice president's role is purely ceremonial. And the second is it makes it more difficult to challenge election slates. And so it's no surprise that it passed pretty easily in the House of Representatives and is now going to pass in the Senate. Of course, Mitch McConnell, no love lost there with Donald Trump. If you recall, Mitch McConnell's spouse, Elaine Chao, was the highest ranking official who resigned in the wake of the violent insurrection from the Trump cabinet. Also, Mitch McConnell has criticized Donald Trump for making his life hard by advancing Senate candidates who will have a tough time winning in their general election.
Yeah, I mean, we sometimes forget about that. These are real people who were threatened, scared for their lives, including former Vice President Pence at the time during the insurrection. All right, we'll go now to a new poll, NBC poll, that says most Republicans reject the MAGA label, with only 42% embracing the term and 58% disavowing it. Is there some significance in these numbers that you see there, Caroline?
Well, there's definitely been a decline, if you will, in the MAGA brand since the violent insurrection. It's interesting to me who is still embracing this label. That same poll found that the folks who are embracing it are mostly older white men who are less educated, without college degrees, but make more money. And so there's certainly a demographic that is still embracing that. But, even Joe Biden came out and said, directly attacked the MAGA Republican brand as being a threat to democracy because of the support for the actions of January 6th and some of the violent rioters that day.
Yeah, it's still out there. You can see it when you ride around. You see, folks with bumper stickers and whatnot. I want to turn to some local elections. Los Angeles mayoral candidate Rick Caruso released a new ad calling Church of Karen, and it links it to his opponent, of course, Congresswoman Karen Bass, to the Church of Scientology. Quite the unique attack ad. Will this have an effect on the race at all? What's he doing with this ad?
Yeah, Kelvin, I don't think so. Caruso is down by 12 points, and the ad is not claiming that Karen Bass is part of the Church of Scientology. She is actually Baptist. She's clarified this. It's referring to an interview that she gave nearly 13 years ago, in which she praised the Church of Scientology for some of their philanthropic work. And so it's a pretty flimsy attack. It indicates to me that Caruso maybe doesn't have enough to make up that difference. So for me, it reeks of desperation. Typically, when you're running an attack ad, there's more teeth to it.
All right, step out a little bit, go more statewide instead of local here in L.A. Governor Newsom passes 13 bills to protect a woman's right to an abortion in the state, and we've seen other states go in the exact opposite direction, even wanting to charge women with murder who have abortions. And could California become a sanctuary state for women escaping these charges? I know that you and I have talked about this now for a matter of a few months or so.
I think it's absolutely already becoming a sanctuary state. This bill, in fact, includes monies for the expected influx of women from other states. I think it's already happening if you look at the movement of activist organizations here. And it's important to note 14 states have already outlawed abortion in most cases. That number is likely to go up to about 24 or 5. 85% of Americans support most types of abortion. And so we're definitely on the right side of history here in the state of California when it comes to public opinion and support for providing abortions. Newsom knows what he's doing. The country is sorting essentially into states that protect these rights and states that don't, and we're definitely on the forefront of states that do.
I'm going to go worldwide real quick for you, Caroline, here. Only got a matter of seconds, really. There's protests in Iran. They continue to escalate now. They're saying, of course, that the death toll may be past 76 folks. Mahsa Amini, her death has inspired the folks. Is this maybe a George Floyd, if you will, for that region of the world, the Muslim community?
Absolutely. I think what we don't understand in the United States is what happens next. They are actually calling for regime change. It's gone well beyond simply protests over the hijab or the choice to wear it or not. The country is turning out 80 cities, mass protests, of course, violent response to that. They are calling for a new regime in Iran.
All right. Well, that is Dr. Caroline Heldman. Thank you so much for joining us and helping us break this down. You went locally, state, worldwide. You did it all. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kelvin.
We'll be right back.